Imagine being told you must marry a man you have never loved. A man you call Pig Snout. Even worse, imagine being locked inside a castle for 33 years. No trial, no crime. Just a love letter and a husband who wanted you erased from history. This woman should have been the Queen of England. Instead, she became the most famous prisoner her country ever forgot. And to cap it all, she cursed her husband from her deathbed. Then, weeks later, he dropped dead. If stories like this keep you up at night, do me a favor. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel so you never miss another shocking story. Drop a comment telling me where you are watching from and what time it is there. Also, please support the channel by buying me a coffee with the link in the description. Now, let me take you back to 17th century Germany, where love was a crime and silence was a life sentence. Sophia Dorothea entered the world on September 15, 1666, in the quiet court of Celle. Her father, George William, was a German duke who broke centuries of tradition for love, marrying Eleanor d'Olbreus, his French mistress, and raising Sophia as their only child. But in the eyes of Europe's royal families, Sophia's blood was never quite blue enough. Her parents' marriage was legitimized, but the stain of her mother's outsider status lingered like a shadow over every courtly introduction. From her earliest days, Sophia was a bargaining chip in a game of dynastic chess. At 16, she was handed a contract, her future sold for a dowry of $100,000 a year. The man chosen for her was George Louis, her first cousin, heir to the House of Hanover. His mother, Electress Sophia, dismissed the match as a mere transaction, calling her son the most pig-headed, stubborn boy who ever lived. Sophia Dorothea's protest was raw and unforgettable. When she learned of the arrangement, she screamed, "I will not marry the pig snout." She hurled his portrait across the room and fainted twice before she was forced to submit. The walls of Calais grew colder as the wedding approached. The contract, signed in 1682, bound her to a future she never wanted. From that moment, the weight of royal expectation pressed down, trapping Sophia in a golden cage, one where love was forbidden and obedience was the only way to survive. George Louis wasted no time making his contempt public. Within months of the wedding, he paraded Melusine von der Schulenburg through the palace halls. She was not just a mistress, she became an institution, presiding at dinners, bearing his children, and taking her place in the royal household as if Sophia did not exist. The court gossiped openly about Melusine's influence, but for Sophia, the humiliation was private and constant. Behind closed doors, the marriage turned brutal. Courtiers whispered about a night when Sophia stumbled upon George and Melusine in a garden pavilion. What followed, according to those who served in the palace, left marks on her arms and bruises along her neck. She was forced to cover the injuries with lace and silence. No one at court would intervene, not her mother-in-law, not the ministers, not even her own family. Hanoverian law offered no protection. A wife, even a princess, had no right to accuse her husband or seek divorce. The legal code made it clear: a woman's body belonged to her husband, and her suffering was a private matter. Isolated and powerless, Sophia found herself watched by servants loyal to George, her letters read before they left the palace. She was trapped, a queen in waiting with no allies, forced to endure the daily spectacle of her husband's infidelity and the threat of violence behind every closed door. The golden cage was now a prison, and every exit was locked from the outside. Philip Christoph von Konigsmark arrived at the Hanoverian court, with the swagger of a soldier and the reputation of a heartbreaker. For Sophia Dorothea, he was something more, a childhood friend who once traced the words "forget me not" into a frosted window pane, a promise that lingered through years of loneliness. Their bond, rekindled in secret corridors and shadowed gardens, grew into a lifeline. Every meeting was orchestrated with the precision of a spy thriller. A snatch of the tune "Spanish Follies" whistled beneath her window to signal it was safe to exchange letters. Over 300 notes passed between them, each one a coded confession, a plea for hope, or a desperate plan for escape. The letters themselves became a world apart, written in numbers and symbols, hidden in the folds of gowns or slipped to trusted servants. In these pages, Sophia found the love and loyalty denied to her by blood and marriage. The risk was enormous, but for the first time she could imagine a life beyond the palace walls, a future shaped not by duty, but by choice. Inside the labyrinth of Hanover's court, danger moved behind velvet drapes. Countess Clara von Platen, herself a power broker and longtime mistress to the elector, watched Sophia Dorothea's romance with Konigsmark with growing resentment. Clara's own plan, to marry her daughter to the Swedish count, had failed, and now jealousy sharpened her ambition into something cruel. She set her trap with a forged letter, imitating Sophia's hand, summoning Konigsmark to the palace under false pretenses. By the time he arrived, Clara's spies had already intercepted the lovers' coded messages. Servants loyal to the court sealed off Sophia's apartments, bolting the doors and posting guards at every exit. The corridors that once offered secret passage now became a cage. Every whisper, every footstep echoed with suspicion. Clara's betrayal wasn't just personal. It was an act of political violence designed to crush hope and make Sophia's private rebellion a public crime. The machinery of power had shifted, and the cost would soon become mortal. 2 a.m. on July 1st, 1694, Philip Christoph von Konigsmark slipped through the corridors of Line Palace, summoned by a letter he believed was from Sophia Dorothea. Instead, armed courtiers waited in the shadows. The guard's logbook recorded the hour, but no alarm was raised. In the narrow passage outside Sophia's apartments, steel flashed. Konigsmark fought desperately, wounding one attacker before he was cut down. He was 29 years old. There was no trial, no body laid out for mourning. According to witness depositions, 4 men dragged his corpse below the palace, doused it in quicklime, and bricked it behind a hidden wall. For centuries, his fate remained a rumor whispered in royal halls. Then, in 2016, during renovations beneath the old palace, archaeologists uncovered fragments of human bone, male, in his early 30s, marked by blade wounds. The forensic team could not prove a match, but the evidence echoed the old story. Konigsmark had vanished, but the palace itself kept secrets in its walls. On December 28, 1694, a tribunal of Hanoverian judges and church authorities issued a decree that erased Sophia Dorothea from royal memory. The official wording was cold and final. She was found guilty of maliciously abandoning the conjugal cohabitation. Her name vanished from family records. Titles were stripped, property was seized, and every legal right was revoked. The churches were ordered to stop honoring her in public prayers. But the harshest punishment fell in silence. Sophia was forbidden to see her children ever again. The decree did not just end a marriage, it made her a legal non-person, condemned to live out her days as a prisoner in Alden House, with her existence officially denied by the world she was born to rule. Alden House became Sophia Dorothea's world, a manor surrounded by marshland, locked from within and watched by guards whose names filled decades of payroll ledgers. She wrote letter after letter, begging to see her son and daughter, but every plea vanished into silence. Her father died without a final visit. Her mother's passing left her truly alone. Even when her daughter traveled nearby in 1725, Sophia was forbidden so much as a glimpse. Meanwhile, the man who condemned her rose ever higher. In 1714, George Louis claimed the British throne. Sophia, the rightful queen in all but name, remained a ghost, erased but not forgotten. Rumors spread like wildfire through the pamphlets of 1726, claiming Sophia Dorothea sent a final curse from her sickbed, summoning George to answer for her suffering. No official record survives, but the timing fueled the legend. Sophia died on November 13th, her body left unburied for months by royal order. Within half a year, in June 1727, George was struck down by a sudden stroke on the road to Hanover. Gossip painted this as supernatural justice, a whispered reckoning for decades of cruelty. Yet, in a twist of fate, every British monarch since has traced their bloodline to the woman erased from history, her ghostly presence haunting the very throne that cast her aside. History still buries inconvenient women behind palace walls and official silence. Even now, royal archives keep Sophia's letters locked away, the truth sealed from public view. Erasure survives in every story left untold. If this story moved you, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, I am bringing you another story that will leave you speechless. Trust me, you do not want to miss it.